Hi, Movie Explainer here. The film begins with a 20-year-old guy sharing a bed with a gorgeous woman who is none other than his stepmother. To find out how this all got started and ended, just watch the recap till the end. In the opening scene, we meet Catherine, a mom drowning in sorrow after losing her son Nicky in a heart-wrenching car crash. She's practically got a "Do Not Disturb" sign in Nicky's room, treating it like a sacred space frozen in time. Poor Brady, her younger son, and hubby Dale are getting the cold shoulder too. Meanwhile, in the chaotic halls of high school drama, we meet Walt, a teacher with a knack for lectures. But his world gets a jolt when Sherry, the late but intriguing student, spills the beans about a gig in the weather department. Walt, despite having a Mrs. Walt at home, starts showing a keen interest in Sherry. Post-lecture, Walt goes to his brother Dennis' apartment. Dennis is riding the struggle bus of mental instability, all thanks to a past accident fueled by Walt's wild days of alcoholism. Now, let's shift gears to the juiciest part of our tale, Jordy, a young, handsome dude locked up in confinement. Yep, you guessed it. He's Nicky's friend, the wheelman in the stolen car escapade that turned their world upside down. Nicky died and he was arrested. But hey, being the offspring of a loaded dad has its perks. Jordy's out on bail faster than you can say family drama, and here comes Carl, his dad, ready to whisk him away from the slammer. It turns out that Jordy's real mom is no longer alive, and Carl's hitched his wagon to a younger beauty named Elise. Jordy, being the skeptical soul, is not thrilled about this union, convinced Elise is just after the family fortune. Breakfast becomes a battleground, with Carl dishing out more scolding, throwing down the gauntlet for Jordy to find a job in 3 days or vanish from the family scene forever. Jordy's pretty sure Elise is the puppet master behind this strict ultimatum and his hate-o-meter for her spikes. Now Elise, in all her attempts to be a good stepmom, is hitting a brick wall. Jordy's not budging from his belief that she's the enemy. On the very same day, Walt, our troubled character, pays a visit to Carl, the renowned psychiatrist. Walt spills the beans about his own trauma caused by a boozy accident. As if that weren't enough, he unravels the mystery of Dennis's mental struggles, disclosing that they were together in a car accident. The crash left Dennis mentally scarred, and here's the bombshell. They collided with another car, resulting in the death of one young lad and the survival of the one in a football jersey. Carl puts 2 and 2 together and realizes it was Jordy. Mic drop moment, and Carl swiftly ends the therapy session. Meanwhile, Catherine is still holding on to the illusion that Nicky is alive. She's pouring her heart out at his grave, unable to come to terms with the harsh reality that he's no longer with them. The plot thickens as Jordy, determined to turn things around, lands at the famed Pizza Zone the next day, seeking employment. The owner sniffs out Jordy's past car theft record, but offers him a gig doing the same work as others, just for a meager salary. Greed prevails, and Jordy snags the job on the spot. Switch gears to Walt, now at home, glued to the news not for world events, but for the weather report delivered by his secret crush Sherry. Poor Abby, his wife, attempts to grab his attention, but Walt is in Sherry land, giving her the cold shoulder. Abby senses the shift in his interest, but remains silent. The next day, as Jordy is gearing up for his first day on the job, things get, well, a bit personal. Feeling a sudden surge of desire, he finds himself in a compromising situation. Let's just say he's handling some personal matters. Suddenly, Elise, his stepmom, walks in and catches him in the act. Jordy, red-faced and embarrassed, gives her an earful for barging in without a warning. Elise, equally embarrassed, quickly retreats, so he decides to bail on his job for the day, opting to start fresh on the next one. Meanwhile, Jordy finds himself on a bench by the roadside, contemplating life, when along comes Melissa, a college friend. She's thrilled to see him out of jail and tries to console him about Nicky's death. Jordy, not in the mood for comforting words, brushes off her attempts. She suggests he visit Miss Catherine, but he doesn't reply. However, as Melissa prepares to leave, he has a change of heart and asks her to meet regularly, revealing a desire for her company. On another front, Abby, Walt's wife, is at her wits' end from being constantly ignored. Frustrated, she decides to go her own way. Walt, despite feeling a bit sad about her departure, secretly revels in the newfound freedom to spend more time with Sherry, his weather reporting crush. But here's the twist. Sherry is not just a passing fancy. The two quickly get intimate, revealing that Sherry has a thing for older men, making Walt the lucky recipient of her affection. The following day, as Jordy gets ready for work, he stumbles upon Elise Blow drying her hair while wrapped in a towel. In a moment of impulsive desire, Jordy approaches her, catching Elise off guard. Amidst embarrassment and shyness, Geordie makes the bold move of removing the towel, leading to an immediate exchange of kisses. However, their intimate moment takes an unexpected turn when Carl, Geordie's father, returns home. In a rush to conceal himself, Geordie ducks into the bathroom, only to find that Carl is heading in that direction. Luckily, Elise manages to work her charm on Carl, initiating a lovey-dovey encounter that allows Geordie to slip away from the room unnoticed. Following that daring incident, Geordie picked up on Elise's interest, prompting him to make another move. Eventually, the two find themselves sharing more than just glances. They start sharing a bed whenever Carl is away. Life seems like a sweet ride for Geordie. His father is content that he's employed, and Geordie is ecstatic because he's got Elise. Yet, in the quiet corners of his mind, there's a lingering melody named Melissa. She keeps popping up at Geordie's workplace, causing quite a stir with the owner, who gives Geordie an earful about staying focused. Due to this, Melissa exits, and later that night, she returns to pick Geordie up. The two head to Geordie's place, where they're interrupted mid-kiss by Elise. Melissa tries to smooth things over, introducing herself as Geordie's pal. However, Elise isn't throwing a welcome party. The jealousy vibes hit hard, and sensing Elise's discomfort, Geordie, with a heavy heart, asks Melissa to make a swift exit. Melissa gracefully bows out, sensing that Geordie's stepmom isn't a fan of unexpected guests. The next day at Pizza Zone, Geordie's late, and the owner lays into him once more. But Geordie's had enough and leaves, making it clear he doesn't want to work for a moron anymore. Melissa sweeps in like a breath of fresh air, ready to whisk Geordie away for some quality time. Their bond becomes too cozy for comfort, and Elise, feeling a mix of bad vibes and jealousy, decides she's had enough. She lays it all out for Geordie, throwing down the ultimate ultimatum: it's her or Melissa. No surprise here, Geordie makes a bold choice, picking Melissa and urging Elise to erase their tangled history. Taking it a step further, Geordie agrees to Melissa's request to meet Miss Catherine. In a heart-to-heart conversation with Catherine, Geordie spills the beans about that fateful night. He admits to orchestrating the car theft, but drops the bomb that it was Mr. Walt who collided with their car. Catherine, overcome with emotion, breaks into tears. She even forgives Geordie, acknowledging the reflection of her son in him. On this transformative day, Catherine decides it's time to bid farewell to Nicky's lingering thoughts. She takes a bold step, burning his belongings and pledging to shift her focus to her beloved son, Brady, and husband, Dale. Catherine takes the initiative to mend things with Brady, apologizing for her possessive behavior in the past few weeks. Emotions run high, and she proposes a weekend road trip to strengthen their bond. Brady, equally moved, shares a passionate, heartfelt hug with his mom, sealing the beginning of a new chapter in their relationship. Here, Dennis is on the upswing, getting better day by day, thanks to Walt having his back. With his brother's help, Dennis decides to break free from his room's clutches for the first time since the accident. And what's the big plan? A date with Sylvie, the love who stuck with him through thick and thin. That same day, Walt spills the beans about causing the accident right in front of Catherine. But Catherine isn't bothered by the bombshell. Why? Well, Geordie had already spilled the beans on her. She just leaves him behind and leaves for the road trip. In the meantime, Carl stumbles upon the secret affair between Elise and Geordie, and guess what? The father-son duo goes at it, not just with words but with fists flying too. However, Elise jumps in before it turns into an all-out brawl. She rushes Carl to the hospital, leaving Geordie to stew in the guilt of what just went down. Regret hits him hard, but the damage is done. In a snap decision, Geordie decides he's had enough and makes a run for it, ready to spend the rest of his days with Melissa. Now, let's switch gears a bit. Over in the restaurant corner, Dennis is enjoying a meal with Sylvie. Elise is playing nurse to Carl, and Geordie?
Well, he's starting a new chapter with Melissa. And that, my friends, is where our movie ends. I hope you enjoyed the recap. If you did, smash that like button. And if you're not part of the VIP squad yet, what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe now, because at the Movie Explainer, our subscribers aren't just viewers, they're the VIP of our recap world.